Most people look at these repos and think tools. I think patterns. Because none of these are magic plugins for OpenClaw, but all three show you how better agent systems are being built right now. And one of them is probably the missing piece in your stack. I'm Hendrix's digital avatar from Spin the Block Studio, and today I want to show you 3 repos people can use to upgrade their OpenClaw or Claude experience. Not by copying them line for line, by stealing the right ideas. Because these 3 repos solve 3 different problems. One helps you structure code agents, one helps you turn messy requests into clean specs, and one shows you the actual inner loop of an agent in a way you can read, understand, and adapt. So let's break them down. The first repo is open-swe. This one matters if you care about coding agents that can do real work across a repo, not just answer questions in a chat. open-swe is described by LangChain as an open-source asynchronous coding agent, built on LangGraph and deep agents, with triggers for GitHub, Slack, and Linear, plus automatic PR creation. The big idea here is the graph. Instead of one giant vague agent, you get a sequence, triage the issue, plan the work, run workers, review the results, open the PR. That is a great pattern for OpenClaw. If you are building OpenClaw flows, this is the upgrade. Stop treating every task like one blob. Split it into named agents with clear state handoffs. You could build a repo maintainer flow with an issue triage agent, a planner, a code edit agent, a test agent, and a PR review agent. That is cleaner, more debuggable, and way easier to control. The second idea from open-swe is autonomy tiers. Their setup uses different invocation paths and control surfaces, so you can choose how much autonomy and how much model power you want in a run. Based on your research, that maps well to labels and metadata that decide whether a task should auto-run, require approval, or use a stronger model budget. That is exactly the kind of pattern OpenClaw should borrow. Not every task deserves full send. Some tasks should stop before a PR, some should ask for approval, some should route to your best model only when the stakes are high. That one change alone can make an agent system feel a lot less reckless. Now the risk. This is the repo where the security risk gets real fast. Because once you give an agent GitHub, write access, test execution, and model tools, the stakes are no longer theoretical. open-swe is MIT licensed and has a published security policy, but the real operational risk is still token scope, branch protection, and bad automation decisions. So the recommendation is simple. Use repo scope tokens. Keep branch protections on, and require human sign-off before anything lands in production. The second repo is Get Shit Done. And honestly, this one is less about agent magic and more about workflow discipline. The repo describes itself as a lightweight meta-prompting, context engineering, and spec-driven development system for Claude Code, OpenCode, Gemini CLI, Codex, Copilot, and anti-gravity. It is MIT licensed and has a published security policy. What I like here is the shift from random prompts to structured specs. That is the real upgrade. Instead of telling an agent, build this feature, you define the objective, the constraints, the context, and the acceptance criteria. That is gold for OpenClaw. Because OpenClaw should not be passing raw vibes between agents. It should be passing structured task objects. So if I were building this into OpenClaw, I would add a task spec schema, objective, constraints, context files, acceptance criteria, and then I would add an AI project manager agent whose whole job is to turn messy user input into that spec before any worker agent starts doing things. That makes the whole system better. Cleaner prompts, better handoffs, less context rot. The risk here is lower technically because this repo is more about prompting and process than giving an agent dangerous powers. But the human risk is still real. Weak specs produce bad code, and bad code can still get merged if the team trusts the system too much. So use it for planning, not blind execution. The third repo is Learn Claude Code. This one is the most educational of the 3. The repo is framed as a way to learn modern coding agents by building them yourself, and it connects that learning path to skills, agent tooling, and pluggable model support. It is MIT licensed, and GitHub currently shows no security policy detected for the repo. What makes this useful is that it exposes the agent loop. Observe, plan, act, reflect, repeat. That sounds basic, but a lot of people building agent products still hide the loop under too much abstraction. This repo gives you a clearer mental model. And once you understand the loop, you can design OpenClaw agents that know when to stop, when to ask for help, and when to call a different skill. That leads to the best pattern in this repo: skills and sub-agents. This is the part OpenClaw should absolutely borrow. Define skills with a name, a description, inputs, outputs, safety notes, and a rough cost profile. Then, let agents choose from that registry instead of improvising every step from scratch. That gives you modularity. It gives you testing. And it gives you a much better path to multi-agent design. The catch is simple. Small scripts are easy to audit, but people still wire them into real systems with real keys. So the recommendation here is basic key hygiene, careful review, and never handing file or automation access to something you have not actually read. So here is the takeaway. If OpenClaw wants 3 practical upgrades, steal graph structure from open-swe, steal task spec discipline from Get Shit Done, and steal the explicit loop plus skills architecture from Learn Claude Code. That combo gives you better orchestration, better planning, and better agent design. And that is the bigger point. These repos are not valuable because they are trendy. They are valuable because they show you the patterns underneath the trend. And that is usually where the real upgrade lives. If you want more breakdowns like this on AI workflows, agent systems, and practical ways to turn research into working setups, check out Spin the Block Studio.